Today I want to talk about another way that spirit communicates with us or connects with us, and that is through animal visits. Many of you who watch this channel probably have had some animal visits. If you have, please share. I'd love to hear about them. You can tell if an animal visit is more than just seeing an animal, seeing a dog walking by, seeing birds. That's different than an actual visit. You can tell that there's a message for you when the animal acts in a way that you just feel more like it's profoundly sort of for you. When that happens, you want to look it up. Look up the animal. Just go to Google or wherever you research things and just look up animal totem, whatever the animal was that you had an experience with. So for example, I see hummingbirds a lot. I see a lot of birds. But when a hummingbird comes and flies around my head and then right in front of me and hovers there for 10 seconds, there's a message there. That's what I mean about it's a significant behavior of the animal that feels like it's just direct communication with you. The hummingbird representing joy and flight and all kinds of things. The hummingbird happens to be one of my totems, and so when that happens, it's just sort of for me a reminder to find the joy, generate joy, create joy in my life. I've had many with the hummingbirds but lots of other animals as well. And so when you look them up, notice that different websites will give you sort of different messages about the animal. The message could relate to your career, it could relate to relationships, it could relate to you on a soul level, and so you'll get kind of a lot of information about a particular animal, and you just sort of want to read through there and see, sort of get a feel for what resonates with you. So just for example, this came up the other day. This was a reminder, again with my son. We had a raccoon experience. It definitely related to both of our lives, and so it was fascinating to me that these raccoons came to bring us this message in the way that they did, because it completely resonated with both of our lives in the same way. So we had gone camping, and it was one of those, we had one of those tents where the zipper, the door on the zipper goes around like this to make the door. It's a 10 by 10, it's a very large tent. So the door had the zipper go all the way around like this, and when it's closed, the zipper is down near the ground, and it was one of those zippers that had a little hole in the end of it. Anyway, that's important. So we had set up everything, and the sun was about to set, and we wanted to, sort of go for a little walk and watch the sunset. So we took our flashlights and we zipped up the tent, and we went for our little walk. When we came back, it was unzipped. Just enough across the bottom and up a little bit. It was unzipped. And when I saw that, it was kind of striking to me. I thought, okay, well, that's sort of strange. And we had seen around the campground signs, there are raccoons here. We had seen signs about the raccoons, but I'm looking at this going, okay, I know I zipped it up, and raccoons couldn't unzip a zipper, could they? Anyway, so we go inside sort of cautiously and look around, and we don't see anything. Everything looks fine. So I'm like, all right, everything's fine. So we got ready for bed. We get in bed. We had, because it was such a large tent, we had taken one of those blow up big double-sized mattresses for us to be comfortable camping. So we were on the ground on this blow-up mattress, maybe about a foot off the ground, and we turned off the lights, but we had the flashlights next to us just in case, because it's camping. It's very, very pitch black dark when the lights are out. So as we're laying there and it's getting super quiet, we hear this, we hear this noise. And I heard it, and he whispered very softly. He said, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I think it's in the tent." And I said, "No, it's out. That's outside. That's an outside sound." We hear it again, only now it's a little bit closer. And so now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think it is in the tent. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know what to do. The tent was now zipped up because it was nighttime, so it was zipped. So if something was in the tent, it couldn't get out either, right? So we hear it again, It's just sort of this noise, like little claws on the floor of the tent. We hear it coming up. He said, "It's in the tent, it's in the tent." My heart was in my throat. Both of us, I think, just sort of stopped breathing. And then I hear it, and I can feel it breathing right next to my head. And I just knew that it was a raccoon. I just knew it was a raccoon in the tent. You don't mess with a raccoon. Raccoons are fine, they're adorable, but when they're trapped or feel cornered, they're going to attack. I was terrified. I did not know what to do, so we just laid absolutely still. I can hear him next to me, and then he goes down. He comes up on the mattress, walks across our feet, and goes up to my son's head. We just weren't breathing. It was terrifying. Just with the idea that it could attack if it felt surprised or threatened, right? It's a raccoon. So I didn't know what to do, because for us to get up, it would have scared it. I didn't know what to do. So it was definitely an exercise in staying calm. I know that when you're in a tremendous amount of fear, that your sort of thinking mind shuts down completely, and you don't think, right? So I just said my prayers. I'm just like, "Okay, Spirit, you got to tell me what to do, because I don't know what to do. Just, okay, Spirit, just," and I didn't say it out loud, but just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. So I got my answer. I understood what they wanted me to do. The clairaudience was helpful, clairvoyance was helpful, claircognizance was helpful, and I knew exactly what to do. So I just started talking in a whisper as I was explaining to my son what we were going to do. And it started with talking in a whisper, and then just getting louder and louder and louder, so that this critter would know that we're awake. And Spirit said, "Get louder and louder." So I did that, and then at some point, turn on the flashlight, just turn on the light. And so we did that. And then we looked around, and we didn't see it. So we thought, okay, he's either hiding. There's no question he was in here. So, and there's no question that it still is. So notice that he was not around the door where the zipper is. So my son stayed on the mattress, and I got up and opened the door. The car, luckily, was right in front of the tent. The driver's side was right there, right in front of the tent. So I grabbed my keys, and I got in the car, turned it on, and got the windows down. And my son just started throwing me blankets and pillows and and things that we would need to sleep in the car. He's throwing me things, and as he does, I notice that now there's about 10 more raccoons coming up around behind the car. So there's definitely a raccoon in the tent, and now the rest of the tribe is here. And so very quickly, I had my son just like leap and get into the car. So he runs and gets into the car. The door was open for the tent. So he gets in, we close up the car, the door's open, but I didn't really have a choice. If I zipped it back up, then the one that's inside would still be stuck. We wanted him to get out, but to leave it unzipped, knowing that all these other 10 are just going to have a field day inside of our tent, really felt like the only choice we had. So we got in the car and we were safe, and we just drove to a parking lot and slept in the car that night. And the next morning when we got back, sure enough, all the raccoons had been all over the inside of the tent. It was like literally terrifying, because what I know is that that raccoon unzipped the tent. He unzipped it. We couldn't have done anything else. So when we got back home, we looked up the raccoon. What is the message of the raccoon? And it was incredible how, you guys know a raccoon. They've got the mask, right? They're very well known for that beautiful sort of what looks like a mask that they're wearing. But they're also incredibly intelligent. They're very, very curious. They won't stop at anything. Their little claws are very, very nimble. So yes, they could. I learned that absolutely they can unzip a zipper. They are very clever and skillful. They're also incredible for such tiny animals to be sort of an example for us of how they will attack if they're cornered or threatened. They will attack. They can be even quite ferocious. So it's like, to be so small, they're very, very courageous and ferocious when sort of standing up for themselves. And yet at the same time, overall, they remain pretty calm. They're pretty steady. They also go in packs, so they are in sort of groups. They work together, they band together and help each other out. They support each other. Let's see what else. I have my notes here because it was so much. Let's see, with this mask, they're about secrecy. It's a bit of kind of representing disguise, maybe telling you that someone in your life is not being completely honest. Maybe somebody is hiding something behind a mask. Maybe they're not being truthful about things. Let's see what else. They're problem solvers. So if they are curious and they did want to get in that tent, they would be persistent in figuring out how to get in there. So they're very, very persistent, intelligent, very clever, very curious, right? Let's see. They also offer lessons to us about being adaptable, being able to adapt to any situation, no matter what the situation is. Given that, from their perspective, they had to deal with a zipper to get inside the tent, and so that's what so they adapt to whatever the situation is. Also, the message was to look at the big picture, look at the bigger picture, and not just what you're wanting to see. All of those, so it's like the fact that they work in groups. It's like find your people, find your people, find your tribe, find people who will support you in whatever situation you're in life, kind of thing. How the message of the raccoon related to what was going on in our lives. And that's what animal visits do. I call them animal visits, but it's essentially messages from spirit through the animal kingdom. And depending on what the message is, sort of determines what animal will sort of visit you. Depends on what message spirit wants to convey, will determine the animal that visits you in a certain way. To remain calm under pressure, to be persistent, to stand up for what's right. All of those were clear messages for both my son and I at that time and what was going on in our lives. So that was just one example, the raccoons. Have you had that? Have you had an animal visit like that was so profound that it really then helped you in your life situation? Or have you had an animal visit like that and you didn't really know that there was a message there? Look it up. Look up what that animal sort of represents. Maybe how they are with their how they are as parents, how they are just sort of their behavior. Every animal sort of has a lot that it represents and can bring us messages that help us in our daily lives. It happens a lot for some of us. You can also ask. I have been through times where there weren't many animal visits, and other times where I specifically asked for, please bring me messages, let it be through the animals, because I love animals so much, and it's fun when that happens. And then I'll have several animal visits that will relate to some aspect of my life and help support me in that. So yeah, so if you've had an animal visit, do share. I love the animals and the messages that they bring. So, and also if animals come in dreams, it's really profound, because while you're dreaming, you're in that soul state. So if you connect with an animal in your dreams, it's really profound. And oftentimes when you look up animal totems, and then the particular animal, some of these sites will outline or sort of detail separately. If you see this animal in dreams, this is what it can mean. If you see them in real life, this is what it can mean, kind of thing. So, and the dream state can be really powerful. It could be about your totem. It could be about lots of things. It's going to be different for everybody because it's a message for you, and you'll know it's for you when the animal is when it's just a different. You can just tell there's something different about it. Something in you will resonate with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to reading your animal stories down below, and until next time, take really good care of yourselves. We'll talk to you soon.